Hello, everyone. Yay, we're back. It's 2026. And it's also season 13 of When Calls the Heart. Episode 1 has premiered. Monday nights, we are allowed to discuss a little bit of what happens and review a little bit of what happens in episode 2, because you could do it the Monday night before. So at the end, I can give you some teasers. You can ask me some questions, and I'll be honest and tell you if I can answer or not. So let's all just say hi to each other. So I may have talked to you yesterday. If you are a Lucas Bouchard fan, we get together right after the episode and we chat. I think this is my 3rd season doing it. And we'll talk a little bit about, Lucas and his storyline, but I focus on everything in this particular chat. I want to say hi, Carrie and Brenda and Susan and Karen. Hi, everyone. And whoever else is here that's not commenting, which is fine. Hi, Constance. I think that's what it is, Constance. Constance, do people call you Connie? Just curious. Hi, Beverly. And Carrie, I have a question for you. I mean, I've known you forever, so this is terrible of me. Is Carrie short for something? And the reason why I'm asking is I have a little girl in my class, beautiful little girl, and her name is Carriana. And I was asking her if anybody called her. It's actually Kiriana. If anybody was calling her Kiri or, like nickname kind of thing. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Anita. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Scrapper Kitty. Hi, Cindy. So you're here for the whole shebang, which I love. Hi, Lillian. I like it because we've got all kinds of fans. We have Rosemary and Lee fans here, and Henry fans, and Hardy's, and Lucas, and Nathan, and we all get to weigh in and say how we feel. Yes. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. You're just Carrie. Okay. That's a beautiful name just by itself. Hello, hello. If I'm not saying hello to you, it's because it's moving fast for me. You're from North Carolina. This is so much fun. Thanks for being here, everybody. It's true. And I like how you talk to each other in the chat, besides me just going blah, 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 blah. So before we start, I did this with my Lucas fireside chat people. This is just water, but in my fancy glass. But cheers to a whole new year. And I'm dying of thirst. I had to go back to school today and talk my ear off. Not true. I was testing and the kids were fantastic. Oh, you're from Ontario. I am going to share a fact about Ontario, Joanne. Maybe you already know it. I did a little research. So if my research, and I did cross reference. So if my research is incorrect in some way, please let me know. Okay. I'm going to actually start with that. Hello, everyone. Okay, let's get started. We've got 3 minutes in. So, for episode 1 of season 13, could you imagine? I wanted to start off with the symbolism and the symbols that were very prominent, and I don't know if anyone realized it, that carried through the entire storyline for one, and for a second, that I think is going to be the highlight for the season, which I'm excited. The first one is the mustache. So we had Nathan with the mustache, but we also had Oliver with a mustache. And the appearance of the mustache was, Nathan, he was like at a desk job, spending the summer as a family and support for little Jack and Allie and Elizabeth under the care of Charlotte, which would be, Elizabeth's husband, Jack's mom, which was all making for something very interesting, I thought. And we'll dive into that later in the season. But in this particular episode, Charlotte is just a tough woman, and she just speaks her mind. And I just loved how she said to Nathan at different times, less mustache, Nathan. Like when he was doing, like when she was referring to the mustache, like less mustache and like more brains kind of thing. Not that he's not smart, but that he plays that part goofy sometimes. And I thought that was great. Now, I love when he arrives into Hope Valley, and then when he shaves, Elizabeth looks and she's like, you're staying. This is like, you're staying. And he kind of is like, yeah. He says, well, I, wanted to get rid of the mustache when I saw the young one with it. And then he gets rid of his too, Oliver. They looked at each other, which I thought was funny because a little awkwardness, but hilarious because that could really happen in real life. And I just thought that was so cute. Not to mention that Nathan had the worst boss ever for the summer. Um, Meaning Charlotte? I'm not sure. I think that's what you mean, Margie, right? Yeah. Anyway, he had his little honey to-do list and he was trying his best. I think if you saw the interview I was part of when we were chatting with Kevin McGarry, and I even used it for when I posted my part of it, I used it as like part of the thumbnail. I just love when Charlotte's taking him in and giving him like a rough hug and said all these wonderful things to him, right? And then, oh, Hargraves. Okay, Margie. Yes. You know what? I forgot about that. All of you. I'm sorry. You're right. But I think it's hilarious because he does he's like when she says don't mess this up and he's like looking around thinking like okay, I thought that was hilarious to me. And the whole like when the mustache went, she knew he was staying, but she at the time, she being Elizabeth, didn't realize that they were all going to stay because she didn't know about the surprise of the pilot getting flown in. I don't know. I just thought that that was funny because that mustache was used in so many ways. Now, what I thought was interesting too was when I saw the mustache in the promos, right? And then I didn't even get to see the episode yet. And then I did get to see the episode. I thought, okay, this has got a lot of promise. There's a lot of symbolism in it. Someone was joining the interview with me and saying, what's a good question? And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm not going to use it. Ask him about the mustache. And the person didn't think it was, I don't know, worth it or whatever. And they didn't. So when I was asking my question to Kevin about working with Brooke Shields because she's so amazing, he goes and tells the whole story about the mustache and how they had to put a fake one on at one point after he had already grown it because Brooke had to have different, schedules. And by that time he had it shaved. And here's me looking, when was it fake? When was it real? And I think it was fake in the very beginning when we see him. I don't think that was the real one. Not that I'm just saying the mustache had its own story. It was like it was its own character. You're all in there saying where y'all from. Are you listening to my important talk? The next thing that was a symbol is the light, the traffic light. Now, where's my Ontario person? Joanne, is that you? Somebody, I forgot who said they're from. No, Joanne, not that one. Yes, there's Joan. All right. The traffic light, the electric traffic light is a symbol because even in the speech that I was going to say Kevin, Lee wrote, he talks about it, the light of the future. I find it to be a little bit more than that. I find that electricity is extremely important in this season, especially when it has to do with light. We know what light often is to us, and they need a lot of light in their lives. There's to look at the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing, because this is a serious episode with a devastating fire, which we already know that's not something it is something I am permitted to talk about because it's been in all the sneak peeks and whatnot. So I like that. But I wanted to talk about the traffic light. One, originally, the original traffic lights, the first one to come into Canada was in Hamilton, Ontario, and it was 1925. So we're a little bit ahead of the game here, which is okay because you get that kind of like that poetic kind of license or that artsy kind of license. And the first traffic lights, when it went to the amber part, it would have a bell that rang, but it was kind of like this distraction. Eventually that went away, but I thought that was interesting. I'm curious to know who did the research on that. I'm wondering if it's Joy. If Joy wrote this episode, she is the showrunner. And if you haven't already seen it, she does chat and talk. She's away in Paris, I think. She does chat and talk with the official Hardy page. and their podcast, and answers all kinds of questions and gives hints to the future. So one of the things that she's already shared, and I'm going to move out of the symbolism. I don't know if anybody had any comments about that symbolism before I move on. Nathan's mustache was as fake as Elizabeth's wig on season 5. Lillian, it was not the whole time though. It was real at parts. But he said, like in the interview, he says he shaved it off, but then they did things out of sequence, so he had to go put a fake one on. So sometimes it was, and sometimes it wasn't. Were the roads paved? No, they were not. Not that I know of. No gravel, I think. Yep, they were. They were. And I love how you're answering each other. But do you remember, Lillian, when Kathy and I would do the podcast and we laughed so hard when I brought the wig on one time? As I brought a wig on and I said, here's our guest. And it was when we were doing like these in between seasons. We were doing these different things we learned from each season, and we brought the wig on as a guest, and we laughed so hard because that's our sense of humor. So maybe I should have brought the stash on. That I should have done that. Oh gosh, I think that's funny. Okay. Okay, getting back to Joy, because Stephanie from Heart in Motion, I think that's what the podcast is. A lot of you know her as Star Watch Byline. She put up something that caught my eye too. I'm gonna have to talk to her about it. I loved the pilot, right? And they zeroed in on his handsome face, and he gave a little wink to little Jack, the pilot that they hired to fly in because there was going to be a strike, and they flew in the inspector to get him there in time. The actor's name is Brandon Ray, Rae. And I was like, oh, is he coming back? And did he look at Faith, or could he be for Faith? Because Faith, she's adventurous and she's up on stuff. I thought that would be cool. So they asked that question, and Joyce said they loved him. They wanted to have him back. He had scheduling issues. So, which is good for him, because that means, he's out there doing his craft, but they hope to have him back in season 14, which is exciting because we already know we have a season 14. They've already put it in the database. There will be 12 episodes, and they're probably already writing stuff now. So yes, he was handsome. He has gorgeous eyes, doesn't he? And I said, it could go with Faith in the pilot, right? Scrapper Kitty, I would love that. Yes. Yes, Faith in the pilot. We've been known to be spied on in a good way and listen to what we have to say. So maybe if we keep saying the pilot and Faith, they'll write some good stuff. What do you think? You thought you saw that too? As soon as you saw him? Yay, I'm not alone. I love it when people agree with me. Yay, you're all my best friends. Okay, so I wanted to get that in. And maybe we can look for some of his work. Again, what is his name again? It went Brandon Ray, Rae. Maybe we'll see where he pops up in some other things, right? Okay, so speaking of popping up, I was excited that right in episode 1, we saw some familiar faces. The traffic light brought us Christopher, he's back, Henry's son. And we got to see some interaction with them and a really good storyline that's brewing between the two of them. Not just Henry out in the fields with is it hazelnuts, or was it hazelnuts or chestnuts? Hazelnuts, right? Not him just out there. I mean, he looks like he's going to get a storyline with his son. And we know he'll probably get a storyline because Lori's coming back. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I love that we saw Charlotte. We know there's other people that are coming, but in this episode, we got to see Charlotte. I'm sure we'll get to see more of her. We got to see Christopher. We're going to see more of him. And even though he's evil and bad, McGinty is back. I feel like McGinty is just too obvious of a choice to be such a villain. How do you feel about that? Do you think he's like not alone? Or do you think it's really not him at all? It's like a red herring. What do you think about that? For some reason, I thought Christopher had already married Rachel. You know what, Margie? We knew that they were engaged, and we had never heard much more. And it looks like maybe they want to get married, but there's something that the family is not too happy about. So we'll see. And it looks like Christopher has improved. I always thought he was a punk. He was at first, Cindy, and then he improved even during that season, he tried to change his ways. You know what, Nikki? Wouldn't that be cute? The governor can hire him to take him back and forth to Capital City. And what if they have like a little emergency landing and they get injured? But Lucas is okay, but the pilot's not. And it's not that he's at death's door, but he needs a little, TLC because they did an emergency landing somewhere in Hope Valley. And there's Faith to the rescue. And of course, you're not supposed to fall in love with your patients, but hey, it's Hope Valley. They are great using the bait and switch and misdirection. This is true. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late at Bondi Beach and I went for a swim. I love the first episode. It's a good start for the season. I wonder if McGinty will be a hero with the fire. No, I can tell you that he's not. He is not, but I can tell you who the heroes are. I'll give you some hints in a little bit. So we've got these wonderful familiar faces, and I like what our friend over here who was swimming at Bondi Beach, wait a minute, Jenny said, it's a good start to the season. Let's talk about that. So Joy wrote this episode, and I love how it was community centered, which is something many of us have been asking for. And everybody in some capacity had a part, and not just a little simple little line. People were acting like their old selves as much as they can be. I loved Molly and Flo together, and saying, the like busybodying around, especially when it came to Edie. But what I liked about that is before we saw Edie so disconnected, we know she was new, but she was disconnected, as was Lucas, from the town, which is odd because when new people come in, usually the town embraces them, right? But I was glad to see that she is helping out. And Lucas even says, oh, you're, with the ladies, the girls, I'm calling them girls. And there they were, kibitzing in together, and she was helping with the bunting and all of that, which is good. This is old vibes, original OG kind of stuff, which I was glad to see. And you could see all the different storylines and how they are interconnected. And the big major storylines are absolutely about the entire town, which I think is great. Community centered. You couldn't have said it better, Nikki. Community centered. And yes, Lucas was included. For those of you that didn't tune in last night, it was so obvious to especially Lucas fans how they kept those two, Edie and Lucas, set aside, which is odd because he is the governor. So I was saying physically, when you look at their marks and when certain scenes where the whole community was there, right up front was Lucas. He was like right there. So he wasn't off to the side or not at all, which is nice. So it makes sense that they're setting it up the way that they are. I agree it was a good start. It had the feeling of the When Calls the Heart we all love. I always rewatch episodes up until season 10, but last night made me want to watch again. Thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people are saying it because they were hurt for whatever reasons. Molly and Flo didn't skip a beat. Their friendship was strong as ever. And I do love those two. Flo-Mo, I think they call it. There's like a whole team on Instagram that is in love with their character. They also represent when they're on X, which is so nice. And Cindy saying, yes, there was a feeling of community in the episode. Nice to see. And Lillian says, Joy told, okay, thank you, Lillian. Let's hear what Lillian's saying here. Joy told the Heart to Heart ladies that the person who wrote the Lucas and Edie scene was a new writer who had just graduated from NYU. Maybe that's why it seemed a trifle immature. Oh, I remember you and I discussed that. And I had a different feeling about that. So Lillian, and she's not alone, was saying how they were kind of like looking at each other, but not looking at each other, and meaning Edie and Lucas. And I was like, I'm okay with that, because sometimes relationships, I know Lucas is not immature. Lucas is very much suave. Lucas is very much a man, you know what I mean, and mature. But this Lucas has had his heart and stomped on and hurt, okay? And he's had some rough times. So this one, I could see why it was like looking at each other, but not looking at each other. But I get you. I get what you're saying. You already watched it twice. I want to watch again for the first time in a long time. Last night gave me hope that we have been heard. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. So I wanted to point out some of the things that I absolutely loved and just jump in, ask a question, whatever it is you want. One of the things that I thought was really done well is, first of all, Joy did a good job of making a first scene. And I remember this is something that Kathy had said years ago. One of the first scenes and who had written it, and I forget which season it was, but how the whole community is there and there's different, I hate to use the word thread because that's been used in a negative way, but the different threads of storylines that kind of were brought, they kind of relate on each other, or like hinge on each other, but they also have their own type of way to go. Like Minnie, I am sure Minnie's going to have something happening this season, just the way it was set up. So anyway, one of the other things that I love is Oliver. The actor who plays Oliver, he hasn't had like tons of experience, but he's really good. And what I like about him is how natural he is. So he's young and he's a young character and he plays his part naturally. His reactions are natural. Um, I think it was really cute and good. I liked how he presented himself, especially when he was, first seeing Allie and interacting with Bill and everyone else. He's cute. He's a cute character and a good actor. The other thing that I loved is Henry. We get to see a little bit more of the promise of a meaty storyline for Henry. I mean, he had some big story arcs, and then I felt like this last season was kind of like, right? And I get it. You take him a break, and then he's coming back. I loved his conversations with his son. But you know what I loved was the scene where he's taking the photos of Rosemary and Lee and the baby, and they're Goldie, and they're having and then they stop and they pose. And whoever choreographed that, because it was a choreography, was fantastic. They hit everything just so. I thought that was hilarious, but well done. It was great. I really, that was another one of my favorites. And then the other thing that I loved was the Lucas scenes. I like that Lucas was, had so much screen time. And I don't mean like Lucas needs to take up, because people will jump on that, people that listen and don't have the nerve to comment, and then later on they comment, oh, it's not all about Lucas. I understand. I get it. But it needs to be a little more than it was, and it was done fantastically. So I thought, yay, those are my loves of this episode. Want to see what you all have to say, and then I'll move on to some other things that I wanted to mention. One thing made me laugh out loud. I think I may have mentioned it yesterday, but I'm definitely going to talk about it. Just joining. Hello. This is, when I first saw it, it looked like it said Hurricane 84. No, just joining. And I love the Edie and Lucas interactions on this episode. Me too. Lucas seemed a little unsure of himself when talking to Leah. I think his broken heart is making him cautious. Yes, Nikki. And there is a little synopsis, and I do believe it's episode 8. We kind of talked a little bit about it last night for those of you that weren't here. And I said the way it's worded is he's hesitant to give away his heart, right? And I thought, wouldn't that be a great thing? Because he and Elizabeth are on good terms. And I'll talk about the Elizabeth conversation in the beginning first, like two normal people finally just talking to each other. And I think, wouldn't it be great? You know how she's always in, and when I say this, I don't mean it negatively, but they always make Elizabeth in everybody's business, or because she's the center. And I think it might be nice if she has a conversation with him about how it was not him. It was not his, like, a fault or anything of his doing that caused their breakup. It was her and how she was feeling. So that gives a little opening there. I'm just hoping it happens, but I don't know. And I am not privy to anything. I'm just saying those are my wishes. Not sure how much fun it will be for Oliver to live with Bill. Nikki, that's one of my laugh out louds. So we got Bill walking along, and he says, Oliver, you'll be living with me, because he has to move out of the Grant house, right? Since they're back. I kind of think it's weird. He was living in the house of the girl he's got the hots for. I know my mind. I'm not going to say anymore. This is not Hallmark After Dark. Okay. Not sure how much fun it will be for Oliver to live with Bill. So he's like, you'll live with me. And I'm like, well, where the heck do you live, Bill? We don't know. The only thing we know about Bill and where he lives that is must be in a row home, because a couple seasons back when they were swimming, I wish they still were swimming. Molly was in the kitchen at the cafe, and she was talking to the girls, and she was laughing because she says from her house she could see the his line of laundry, and she saw his, his bathing suit and whatnot hanging out. And I thought, okay, so he lives in one of the row homes. So that's as much as we know. We've never seen his house, but we see Mike and May's. We see Mike and May's house, and we still don't know, where in the world does Lucas live? Like, where? I know. Okay. I wanted to generally ask about Emily. Was she in the community? I thought I did not see her. She was not. She's older and she's going to go away to school. So Emily was not there, nor was, because she's away at school also. Oh, the oldest Canfield daughter. She's also away. I'm sure they'll come back, for visits. Henry taking the pictures was hilarious. Hickam wasn't in except at the end of Singing with May. No, he was there. Hickam was in the storylines. He was. Lucas finally looks happy. Yes, he was the director. Yes, and he kept everyone and everything tight consistently and smoothly. He did, Arlene. He did a really good job. Thank you. I like the way Oliver asked questions about his new living arrangements once Bill made his announcement about the changes. I know. Karen, Joy said in H2H that Lucas will deal with his broken heart. Thank you, Joy. Thank you. I love the interaction between Lucas and Nathan with the ticket. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fun matureness of it. There are people who are going to flip a wig, but we cannot satisfy everyone. I have people who come and who watch our Lucas Bouchard. Now it's going to be all about Lucas. This is where people can vent what they love and what they detest. And then we've got people who watch it who don't like Lucas's character and then write stuff in there to me like, why do the fans think that Nathan was horrible to Lucas and he has something to make up for? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do we watch the same show? So I have to calmly list some comments. But why do you even have to come to watch that if you're going to get yourself upset? If you don't like Lucas's character, why would you watch something about it other than to complain and give me agita? But that's okay. Let's talk about the ticket. He ran the red light because he was towards the end of it, right? And he was a little distracted. And Nathan watched the whole thing with a smirk on his face because he saw what was happening. And he didn't do it. He did not do it to be facetious, right? So he walks up to him and he's like, hey, governor, did this in front of everybody. And he's like, I'll give you a warning, which police officers do in the modern time, right? I'll take the warning and not the ticket because in Jersey, it comes with some points, right? So he says, in Jersey's, we already got a high insurance rates here. And I like when he's like, no, I'm not above the law. And Edie's listening to all of this, right? Now, then she disappears and he's like looking around for Lucas. But I love this part. Lucas kind of gives it a jab back to him. And he goes, well, I thought that was all for show because he was in his surge. And then you see Nathan's face and he's like, yeah, well, it kind of really was all for show. I love that. They just took it. And then I had mentioned this yesterday. I love how Kevin, when he is him goofy self, he's like all over the place. But when he plays a serious part, and Pascal, I said, does this too, instead of being so bold and out there, they become small and their voice becomes deeper and their facial expressions are smaller. And he said, in all seriousness, he put out his hand and he was like, thank you so much for all your help with getting this tier 1 clinic up and so that they could return. And he, of course, Lucas is going to do it. He's like, of course, my pleasure kind of thing, which is nice. They're acting human, like humans, normal. If you want us to move on, you got to make these characters move on. And it looks like Joy did that. Thank you, Joy. She's setting it up for a really good year. And I love that. Okay. What we got? The ticket scene was so good. Love the little banter. Me too. Then Nathan making the comment, distracted. I know. And that's when Edie does a little laugh and steps away. Okay. You know what, Lillian? Was it just that one scene or all of the scenes with Lucas and almost said Lucas and Elizabeth and Edie. Is it all of the scenes with Lucas and Edie that this new writer wrote, or was it just that particular scene? I haven't watched her interview. Friendship again, thank gosh. Yes. Well, even the friendship with Edie and Lucas, like they're sparring, and he said, we like to play cards together. I like that. Take it slow. We don't need to jump in and make it forced and ridiculous. And I hope they continue with that kind of a pattern. I think I could be wrong. It's okay, Lillian. Thank you for sharing, though. Okay. Now, Kevin said in another interview that he rode his horse through the red light later. I know. Well, what about when Rosemary was coming in? She was doing her big wave. I'm like, is she looking? She's too busy waving. Is she looking to make sure she's not running over anybody? I know. I thought that it was all funny, fun stuff. Okay. Getting back to this. All right. So I did all my loves. I did the things that I thought was funny. Joy said that the new writer is excellent at writing Lucas. We're going to find her and we are going to invite her, which will probably never happen. I'll tell you what Hallmark's doing a little differently this year. And wouldn't she be great to be a guest on my Lucas Bouchard fireside chat? I'm going to see if I can get permission for that. I don't know. We'll see. Is Joy the new showrunner for this season? Yes, Angel. She is. She announced that last season at the very end. She is the new writer, screen showrunner. All right. So what was it? Okay. I wanted to talk about that I missed. Look, you want to see this? Okay. I was in a rush today and I do have notes, but I left my notebook here. I had to go from work to physical therapy to grab dinner at the diner because I'm a Jersey girl and we got diners and rush here, right? So I wrote on, you ready? The back of my placemat. I want to make sure I've got all the parts that I wanted to go over. Okay, before I get to teasers, before I get to the scoring of the episode, before I get to the trivia, I do want to talk about what I thought were some weaknesses. Now, I'm going to say them in the most positive way that I can because everything can be improved upon. Even me as a teacher, I know that I can be improved upon as a podcaster. So everything could have some improvement. But what are we saying here? Nikki, during the final episode last year, Lucas offered Elizabeth the chance to present her new education initiative to the assembly. Will we find out if she ever did that? Well, I don't know. You're asking me questions before I can answer them, and I don't know that. So the banter with Lee, the whole scene he wrote, Max Rosenblum. Oh, thank you. Very nice to know that. Well, guess what? He's a new writer and he's taking little pieces. You know what? How smart is that? Is to assign couples or certain characters to certain people because then they would know the ins and the outs. What a different approach. Then they would really know the ins and the outs and then they would come together. Maybe they've always done that, but no one's ever explained it like that to us. I love this. Thank you, everyone that's sharing. Oh, Brian, thank you for sharing that. I noticed some personal internal struggles for Minnie and Elizabeth being hinted at. Both seem confused about their life. Yes, right now. And Elizabeth's face leaving the barn after talking with Nathan. Yes, there. I feel like you are correct. Those are little hints. And Arlene, you like Carrie, like Lillian, you zero in on those little details. Good job. Thank you. And Brian, thank you for that. I'm going to make sure I look into all of it. Like I said, I've been crazy running around. Robin, the episode was so good. It's definitely making me really look forward to watching each week, which the last couple of seasons, not so much. Thank you, Joy. All characters are back in a good way. Good way. And I hope that we can carry on with that. So Max is writing Allie's essay, her essay. Good to know. That was good. I wish I wonder who's writing Allie's story because she gets on my nerves. And it's not the actress, it's the character. The character of Allie for many people is not likable. Now, if you tend to be a big fan of Nathan's, of the Grants, they tend to be a really great fan, like love Allie's character. I loved Allie's character when she first came. Her spunk, her how she got in trouble, but then she was trying to figure out who she was. I love that. But they've written her with like such a high hand, like how she takes over for the adults and how she had, like, I don't know, it doesn't fit. And that's one of my things that I put on here. Even the way, like, her conversation with, and it's not the actress because I've seen the actress in other things, the way they have her approach and talk with Oliver's so mature and relaxed when he's talking with her, and she's like, "Mm," and the way they, like, I want her to speak in a different way. And I don't know, there's something that needs to be fixed, and I don't know what it is. Carrie says Allie is a brat. Okay. Avis, Lucas said he was working on re-election, but wasn't he planning to not run in this season last year? No, he was trying to go back and forth. He was trying to figure it out. I thought people were trying to get him out of office. Oh, that's always a storyline. Maybe the new showrunner was like, yeah, no, we're not going there. That's like too much repeating stuff. We're going to go and move on. I just want Allie's character to grow up to match Oliver's maturity. Thank you, Catherine. That's what I'm trying to get at. It is not about Jada. Jada is exceptional. She knows her lines, her marks. She's I've loved her character, but it's the change in her and how they're directing that character. I agree with you. I want her maturity to match. Maybe that'll be part of the storyline. Maybe she still has some more growing up to do. Maybe he's a little bit ahead of her, you know? Yeah. You agree with me about Allie? Okay. Okay, good. Yes, I agree. I'm not crazy about Allie's character, but she annoys you to no end. But I know many people have said, I agree at 100% about Allie. Loved her when she first came on in season 6, but lately she's annoying. She's immature. Yet they're trying to make her mature, but she's not, which is a shame because that character has like way so much potential. So maybe they'll hear us. Maybe I don't know what the rest of the season's like, and let's see how that goes. Okay. All right. So now let's look at another weakness. And these aren't major things. I loved the episode. These are just little things that I saw that, nobody's perfect kind of thing, right? Um when I first saw it, the opening scene annoyed me. You've got like Lee and Rosemary walking. I don't like it in any show. I just saw a Lacey Chabert show do this movie, and I like that movie. But when you're walking and you're coming in an office and you say one thing to another person and another thing to another person and another, try to make them look busy, it doesn't look busy. It looks fake. So you see Rosemary come out and she's like, "Oh, Lee," and they're talking to each other. And I'm like, you're overacting. Someone said that's not a word. It is a word. You're overacting. And it takes me out of forgetting that it's not real. And that's how it started. And I thought, oh my God, please don't let this season be like this. Don't let this episode be like this. And then it didn't. It changed, which was good. Made me sigh there for that. I was okay. The other thing that where that happened was the very first episode we see Elizabeth. She's like, "Oh, Lucas is on the phone." Like he's there for me. And she's like, "Lucas." And then she gets mad because she gets disappointed and scared because she's told the inspector might not be there. And she says, and this has nothing to do with Erin because she's great. It's what they said. "You mean to tell me after we spent all summer looking for 12, I'm going to spout out numbers, 12 of this and 13 that and this and that." And I'm thinking, what are you trying to let the audience know what was happening all summer? You could have done it a better way. It's like when two characters first meet and they're like, "Oh, how have you been? How's your father after he had his operation and you had to give up your job for 6 months and then you had to come?" Nobody talks like that. So it annoyed me. And I thought Elizabeth and Erin's better than this. So the way they wrote that, I don't know how you felt about it, but that was another annoyance. I got another one, but I want to see what you're saying. How old is the Allie character supposed to be? I think this is her last year of school. So, what does that mean? I'm not sure. People are sending me comments on our Lucas Bouchard Um, my phone just went crazy on our Lucas Pichard post from yesterday. And like I said, if you're not a Lucas fan, what are you even on there commenting for? Just move on. So I'm not sure. But again, I'm shouting and I just realized that and I'm sorry. Again, she needs to level up in her maturity in how they have her reacting to things. It's a challenge for a teenager to move to adulthood to showing that in between right appears. But Robin, I am not questioning. I- I've said this, so I'm going to say it again. I am not questioning the ability of Jada because Jada, I've seen her in too many other things, is very good. I'm questioning how the writers or the directors are going about it. That's all. That's what I'm questioning. Because I guess I'm perfect. I know I know what the writers and directors should do. I'm just sharing like what I see as a fan, as a viewer. Allie needs to needs to tone it down a lot. Okay. They're writing her to be just too much, right? Can we talk about the plane getting from Toronto to Alberta in a matter of hours when in actuality it would have taken 3 to 5 days? We can, Lillian, because I guess that's part of like the traffic light. The traffic light didn't come to Canada till 1925, and I think this is 1922, and it didn't come to Hope Valley. It came to Hamilton. So I'm not sure, it's I guess you suspend reality, right? And we're going to go and roll with it. I think the governor should give Nathan a ticket for riding through the red light. um 17 or 18, yes, is the age. Elizabeth was so rude when she just hung up the phone and not even a thank you. I don't know. I didn't feel like it went that way. I think she was just distraught. We could pick apart everything. Her dance birthday party, she turned 17. Yes, she did, Carrie. Thank you. She had her 17th birthday last season. Very good. Jada overacts. Okay, you could think that, but I don't think she does, Jenny. Wasn't Allie in an advanced math course because she was so good at math? I think it's time for her to go to college. Yes, Nikki. She was. She's smart. She's very smart. I agree about Allie. Maybe 16 because no. Okay, we've got it, Margie. Yeah, she's 17 from the party. Yeah. Allie was 10 going on 17 in season 6. I know, and I liked her then. I loved her character. Thought it was great, but they wrote her character to be a lot annoying. A lot annoying. All right, here's the next little thing. And again, these are small things. And these are just my opinions as a viewer. We've got cute little Jack finally getting to see Lily, and a serious conversation comes up with the adults. So they suggest that little Jack and Lily go outside, right? And Molly says she'll go out with them to look at the vegetable garden. Doesn't that sound like fun? People make fun of that. Oh, I'm going to sit here and watch a plant grow. Like, what do you mean? I'm sorry. What do you mean? My dining was banging. What do you mean? Wouldn't that be fun? They couldn't think of something different. They couldn't be throw the ball around. They couldn't be take a walk. It couldn't be play with my stuff. I don't know. I just thought that was hilarious to go look at the vegetable garden. I'm like, yeah, okay. Joy said the actor who was the pilot was brought back to refilm because there were different endings. I wonder if Lucas originally organized the insulin to get to Hope Valley, that Nathan was made the hero. We're going to talk about the hero stuff. Does Hope Valley have a fire brigade and the red pump wagon? Yes, they do, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Yes, they told us in a fast talker way that they were trying to set up what previously happened. You might as well had Elizabeth do a journal entry with yes, Arlene, right? Okay, instead, yeah, her fast talk with all that. I think Allie at times can be a teenage version of Rosie. Yes, it seems to give her more grace. And okay. Let's see. I wait a minute. I think it was total stress about the news from Lucas for the way Elizabeth reacted. Yes, I do too, and I'm in agreement with that. And he kind of was like stressed too. He was like, "Oh, we know that Nathan is good at the grill. Didn't think grills existed then." I think kind of they were. Lucas didn't know the pilot, so he wouldn't have contacted him. Lucas didn't know the pilot at all. You are correct. We're going to talk about that. I think Nathan arranged for the pilot to fly in the inspector, but I think Lucas may have paid for it. Okay, so let's talk about this. And that's my last point. Nathan, the hero. It's fine for people to be a hero. We've got all kinds of heroes, and from episodes 1 through 3, so many heroes and I don't use the term hero just for the males. I mean hero for females too, and we'll talk in 1 minute about that. And I don't mind. Nathan is a hero. He does things that he needs to do that are heroic because of his job, right? Just like Jack did, just like Bill does, right? So but the thing is, they always have to say, oh, someone has to say, oh, your Nathan is a hero. I think that's weird. Stop saying that. We already know it. We don't need to keep using that word. Like, erase that word, get rid of it. It's weird. It's cringy to me. And people are all mad about, be careful here with this. People are all mad about, and what I mean by this is your feelings, don't get them hurt, because this is me and my observations, are all mad about him being the hero. He is the godforsaken hero. We don't need to have him say it. And yes, they're going to write it this way. They set it up. They had him at the boarding house listening to all those stories about the boarder and his nephew. Then he changed it to grandson or whatever it was, and how he was this ace pilot. That's what gave the idea to Nathan. Of course, Nathan is going to think of something outside of the box because it's his family. He loves them. This is what would happen if Elizabeth and Lucas were together. He'd think outside the box. They'd write it that way for him. We have to remember they're not together, and we can't hate that character for doing those things because it just makes sense. That's good writing. You're going to make Nathan do heroic things for Elizabeth, because they're a couple and that's the way it rolls. And we've got so many, oh, he's not smart enough, he's this, he's that. And I'm like, oh my God. No, these are my feelings. And as a writer, how I would handle it. If I didn't see Nathan doing these things for Elizabeth and it was other men and other people, I think that was weird, because he's going to do them. It's his, he loves her. It's like his wife, even though it's not his wife yet, that's his boy, even though it's not his boy legally yet. So yes, he's going to do all that stuff. And I think you might be correct. If money was involved, Lucas may have paid for it. That's cool. But we don't get to see all the stuff that they cut out. Lucas has the connection to the inspector. Maybe, but the whole thing was that the inspector, someone in the other one said they were upset, in my last one with Lucas, they were upset that they made it like Lucas failed with getting the inspector there. However, Nathan was the hero and got him there. But Lucas didn't fail. He didn't control the strike. He was the deliverer of bad news. A governor doesn't control. There's really no such thing as a governor back in there. But anyway, they don't control a strike, I think Nathan arranged for the pilot to fly, but Lucas may have paid for it. That makes sense, Nikki. And it seems like he did have some type of connection. Oh, wow, we're coming up to almost an hour. Only because at the end, I loved his little face. He's like, come on, let's go look at the plane, and had everybody go over. Lucy, it doesn't bother me if Nathan is a hero. I understand, Lucy. And again, we've got many people that are here, and I get things from both sides when it comes to not when it comes to Rosemary Lee, not when it comes to Molly, not when it comes to anybody else, but when it comes to a Lucas and the Nathan thing, I get things both sides in my ear. Here's my honest frankness about this. I love Lucas. He is not my favorite character, but my second favorite character. Love, love, love him. And does anybody know who my favorite character is? I'm curious to know if anybody knows who my favorite character is. Love Lucas, adore Chris McNally, adore Kevin McGarry. I've had the opportunity to meet with them and converse with them on other projects and whatnot. But I get it from both sides. Whether am there rooting for Lucas, the Nathan fans, they send all kinds of crazy things to me, and vice versa. If I'm like, I did an interview with Kevin as if that were sacrilegious. Like, no, he was representing the whole show. I mean, of course, I'm going to interview him. He's lovely, and I want to see what he has to say. So, it's still like a feud going on, and I'm like kind of stuck in the middle. I understand that, Roxanne, but I'm wondering, when will we see N walk on water? I don't know. I don't know. That's why it's my pet peeve right here, where I said, stop saying the word hero. It's cringy. He's doing his job. Just do your job. And when I say do your job, I mean do your job as the Mountie, but also do your job as the man for your family. So we don't have to keep pointing it out. It's so wonderful. You're so wonderful. Like, if the governor was doing things for the town, he's supposed to. Are we going to tell him, you're so wonderful? You're so wonderful constantly. Good Lord, I hope not. He's gone from Barney Fife to Dudley Do-Right. Cindy, I still think there's still Barney Fife inside of him, especially when he had that whole conversation with Lucas. And Lucas is like, isn't this all for show? And he's like, yeah, you're right. It kind of is. And even like when he's talking serious with not Rosemary, with Charlotte, and then she hugs him and says what she says, and he's got his little eyes going back and forth. That is him. That's supposed to be part of his personality, but it's not supposed to be like he's dumb and he can't think of things. That I've never thought of the character Nathan as not being smart. I never have. Never. Let's see. Lucas has moved on, and so has Elizabeth with Nathan. We need to move on and appreciate the new storylines and writing, which is awesome so far. Robin, not everybody has to. Like, there are people that can't. They can't move on, and that's okay. And they, if they choose not to watch, that's all right. And the people that are still watching and then still are hurt, all I have to say is, I always wanted Lucas's character to have more screen time, but meaningful screen time with meaningful storylines. And I feel like that's what I see now. I did not see that last year, and I did not see it the year before. So the year before, I could kind of be okay with it. But last year fired me up because it was the same exact type of storyline, except the first time it was getting investors and how they couldn't, and it took up the whole storyline. I mean, the whole season. Last year it was, what are we doing with the park? Getting the park. It was like the same, like redundant stuff, and it's totally different now, which I like. Lucas is probably very involved in ending the train strike. The competition between Lucas and Nathan is difficult to watch if writers make it intentional. Thank you, Catherine, and you were right. And it's not intentional now, which I love. Henry. I don't know what that means, but I love Henry. Did I say something wrong? Did I say something and everybody's saying Henry? Henry, I love him too. I hope he has a happy ending with Abigail. Yes, and yes, and oh, my favorite character. Okay. That's my favorite character. I love that woman. I love her character. That's why I was a little off put when I saw the way they had her behaving in the very first episode. I love her because she is dramatic and she has manners. There's a scene that comes up, and this is a spoiler, and it has to do with her grandmother's fork. I'm just going to say that's all I can really say, because I think it comes from episode 3, which I have to be careful because I can't talk about it yet. And just how she's like, with my grandmother's, I don't know, like antique, whatever. I love the actress, and I love the character. You know what? He's up there, but number 1 is Rosemary, number 2 is Lucas. And Rosemary and Lucas are like, just like very close. Oh, Elizabeth used to be my favorite character, and she's not the Elizabeth I've always loved and known. Like, she's there now, and that's okay. That's okay. We as viewers, let's see what Arlene has to say, because then I've got you can ask me some questions. I'm going to give you some teasers that I'm allowed to give, and I'm going to ask you a question where you can win a prize. We as viewers don't need to hear the word hero being, touted out verbally if it's written and acted as such. And it was. Thank you. You're going to hear it more, though. Lucas was supposed to have a hero arc, but he ended up losing everything that meant the most to him. Joanne, that's because when it was said he was going to have a hero arc, who was in charge of that couldn't bring it. But that's all done. And we've moved on. So you might be able to see all kinds of stuff. Yes, Brenda, my favorite. So we got that. Okay. So let's talk about some teasers for episode 2. We all know that there's a fire, right? I have the pleasure. I just got the notification. This is about how things are a little different. I like to invite a writer, director, whatever on when I do these things. And because it's live, I can't just do it at any old time. I do it at a specific time. And a lot of times that doesn't work out for them. And that's fine. Other people record and don't do it live, so they have more access. But this is how I prefer to do it because I love to hear from all of you. Okay. Season 2 is exceptional. It is well written, well directed, and the special effects, and that's who I wish I could have on is the special effects people, just hit it out of the park, and I want to know all of the details. So I am so excited because I, along with others, will be part of a junket with Kevin Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I think it is. I just got the notification today, and I'll get to ask him about the special effects, and we'll get to ask all kinds of questions. So that's coming up. That's going to be exciting, right? The next thing is some teasers. So I'm going to say the word black hole. When I say black hole in Hope Valley, what do I mean? I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to tease a little bit more about it. And while you're doing that, I'm going to see what you have to say. Lucas was so close to LJ. He also had a relationship with Allie. When the story changed, he lost the interactions with the kids. That is worse than what they did with Elizabeth's character. Well, Angel. I'm going to talk about that. They had to do that because they had to build the relationship, and they could have done it in a better way, but they had to. I understand they could have stepped back. He had not with Allie. Allie's a different story, and they always could. And they kind of thought they were doing it by having her help him last season with the whole the Wild West. Listen to me, the whole forest thing, and it just didn't come off right. And you're correct. You're correct. I can't say much more than this because it's not episode 2. You're correct. And when I keep saying Bouchard is back, by the way, remind me to tell you about the hashtags. Bouchard is back because characteristics of the OG Lucas come back. That's all I'm going to hint at. Okay. And I love that you brought that up because I forgot all about it. Can't wait to see our gorgeous Lucas walking out from the fire. Oh, Nikki, hold on there. Black hole, bye-bye characters. Kind of. Yes. All the storylines that they started and then they just disappeared into the black hole, like the library wagon and so many other things that started and didn't finish. Yes. So another black hole is this. Where are certain characters? Where are, like Emily? What happened to Emily's whole family? We don't see nor hear. And Emily's mom and family were major characters in the beginning. We just got Emily, right? Opal. Have we ever met Opal's mom? Dad? Billy. Where'd Billy come from? Did he walk in off the street? Where are his parents? That's all I'm going to tease about that. Okay. And see, this is what I mean. They heard us when we said about the black holes and all these little cool things. And they don't have to be so extravagant about it. They don't have to write a whole storyline about it. They do it very well. Episode 2 out of the 3, I don't know. I love episode 3 though. Episode 2, I love 1. And actually, I'll be there in 1 minute. The other teaser that I want to share with you is that in episode 2, you're going to see many heroes. Yes, Nathan is a hero. You're going to hear them say the word Nathan being a hero again, which is so silly to me because Nathan is the Mountie. He's smart. He knows what he has to do, and he does it. But there are other heroes. You're going to see Oliver as a hero. You are going to see Mike and May as heroes, Lee as a hero, Lucas as a big hero. You're going to see a lot of the townsfolk out there together, and then certain characters take on branches of amazing things to do. Bill, a hero. You're going to see it. It's good. It's very good. What about what did I say? I didn't say Toby. Who did I say? I think I said a character's name. What was it? It wasn't, I meant to say Toby. Whatever name I said, I meant Toby, and I apologize if I said the wrong one. I was wondering what Toby's about Toby last night. Where did he come from? Margie, that's who I meant. So I don't remember who I said besides Opal. We met Opal's parents in the episode where she stayed with Elizabeth. Haven't seen them since. We didn't actually get to meet them, Nikki. We never really got to meet Opal's parents. And also, I remember when Opal got hurt, where were her parents? Elizabeth was with her and the kids. Where were her parents? And one of the actors did, yes, but she had another brother, and we also, but when he passed away, he was also not on the show anymore. You can't wait. I'm glad you can't wait. And I mean the actors who played Emily's brother. I know, Carrie, I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. It's sad, isn't it? Okay, so to the Wolf family, apparently they're all there. The little sister's there. So let's hope I see it. We see it. All right, so let's go back to this. Does anybody have a question for me? And I told you my little teasers. I've got a question for you, though. Where's Flo's son? Yes. Didn't they bring her to the school to tell Elizabeth that Opal would be leaving? I don't remember exactly, but I don't know that. I mean, if they did, it was brief. We never really got to meet them. We don't know much about them, but I'm not saying more than that. Billy, I said Billy, I think because that's his real name. Susan, his real name is Billy, and I meant Toby. Thank you. I couldn't remember what I said. I see the guy in my head. Cute kid. All right, here's my question for you. Who was Nathan's connection to getting the pilot to bring in to Hope Valley the inspector? I want to know who he was. What's his name? By the way, I'll give you a hint. The actor's name, and are you going to go look it up, is Patrick Keating. And I want to know if you know what his name is. What happened to Laura? I don't know. Margie, she got it first. Skeeter. Yes. Well, Margie, you know the drill. I may or may not have had your address from back in the day, and then something happened to my account and I had to have a whole new one. So Margie, please email me your mailing address and I will send along a gift for you. It will come through Amazon. Yes, at the boarding house. You're right, Cindy. The old man in the boarding house, Skeeter. Yes. But Margie did it first. Thank you, Margie. All right. Anyone have a question that they want me to answer for tomorrow's episode? Not these big philosophical questions like, where's Laura? Laura's away at college, doing her thing. She's there going to college to become a teacher. We have not seen her. Oh, thank you. I didn't know we're going to get a prize. Yeah, you get a prize. It's not anything major, but you get one. I don't even know what it's going to be. I usually try to relate it to the episode or the character. Maybe I'll send you a little tiny airplane. I'm only kidding. It won't be Chachka. Okay. Anyway, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. And yeah, it's been an hour. Thank you for all being here and being so patient. Who has a question? All right. So yesterday, the episode 1 for Lucas is how I'm going to end. I did a 1, 2, 3. I asked everybody what they thought of the episode, but concerning Lucas character. And I loved it. I thought it was a 3. Now, for this episode, for the whole episode, I'm curious to see how you felt with a 1, 2, 3, 3 being the highest score, 1 being the lowest. I gave it a 2 for the whole entire episode. There were certain things that annoyed me. A 3 to me was, I really loved all the Lucas scenes and how it went. So to me, it was a 3 for him. But this is the overall. And I don't want to say just a 2. I think more like a 2.5 for me. Because what annoyed me was just not that bad. Certain things were. Okay, we've got a lot of 2s, 2s, 2s. Had a lot of 2s yesterday, too. We got a 3 here. Lucy's in agreement. I mean, Lucy, not in agreement. Lucy's got a 2. I like a 2, 2.5. All right. Yeah. How are you feeling about the possible storylines for characters like Allie and Oliver, right? Two but love Lucas. Me too, Nikki. What do you think? Like the storylines for like Oliver and Allie. And what are you thinking about the possible storyline for Minnie? Like, wouldn't that be fun? Because of the community. Yep. That's what gave me the half point, the 2.5. Gladys, right? Susan says a 2. All right. Nikki says 2 but loved Lucas. Me too. I'm just thinking, on even Rosemary, where's Rosemary and Lee gonna go? All right. Thank you for tuning in. 2 things. 1, so many things trended yesterday. Season 13, that's all that I saw. Season 13. I don't know if it had to do with When Calls the Heart or not, but it was crazy. When I first saw it, had like 7,000 retweets on and tweeting on X. And the McGarrys, they were trending. Bouchard is back, trended. Chris McNally, the name Chris McNally trended. Hardy's trended. When Calls the Heart trended. There was a lot. People came out. Lucas is a 10. Thank you for the great podcast. Oh, thank you. I wonder what things Minnie was thinking of that she might like to do. Me too, Margie. I'm excited to see where that goes, right? Thank you for the little hints for next episode today, Roxanne. You're welcome. It's a good one. It really is a good one. 3 for you, Robin. I'm glad to hear it. And the other thing is a housekeeping thing. If you are on the Chris McNally fan page, we had a little oopsie with our spoiler alert. Like you get to post, it should be at midnight, and it was in the afternoon, and people started putting all these things, and then people were like, I haven't seen it yet. And I'm like, it was a mistake. We're sorry. We'll do better next time. And I shut off commenting, but commenting will go back on at midnight. And then if you're on the When Calls the Heart on Hallmark fan page, it's not even up yet. It'll be up at midnight. That was it. That was my stuff. It seemed like a bit early in the season for Charlotte to give Nathan her blessing. It upset a lot of TL fans right off the bat. Joanne, you put this kind of comment in here now. Why didn't you do this earlier? We're trying to exit here. You know what, Joanne? You are correct, but I'm going to tell you something. Don't worry. It's not all loveliness as we move on. Okay. I'm not saying that there's some big old fights, and it's not in episodes 1, 2, and 3. But if you look at the interview we did with Kevin, he kind of mentions some stuff. And if you read some of the synopsis for up to 8, you're going to see that there are some things that are going to happen and come up. So listen, I don't think they care if it hurts the Lucas fans. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They care about Lucas, but I don't think they're tiptoeing around the Lucas fans because of what they want to write for Nathan. They're going to write for Nathan what they feel is right for Nathan, And let's face it, some Lucas fans need to we walk on eggshells around them, and it's going to be that way. What else can I say? It's just going to be that way. Definitely great writing this year. Yeah, maybe it's those new peeps. Thank you. Charlotte hasn't met Lucas yet. They're not even going to address that. They're not even, that's gone, Nikki. That ship sailed. Allie and Oliver should be a background thing. Not so important. Minnie, I'm intrigued by. Okay, I kind of agree, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. So I hope they can pull it off, because I do love Oliver, the character. He's like, he's up there. I got my Lucas. Here's my Rosemary and my Lucas, and Oliver, he's in there somewhere. All right. Good night, everyone. For real. I feel like it's the Italian goodbye. We say goodbye for 900 years. All right. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in.